Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Rakah, Kodash, Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Double honors to my elder apostle, Aharawan Banya Sharala of the Lions Den Camp here in Florida. Shalom to the Sente Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. Nakar Harab Ban Yasharala, coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharala here in Florida. And today I'll be coming out of a lesson, and it's an impromptu, but it's on this article. I'll read a little bit of this article, but not too much. But as it says, is Walmart closing on November? And we already know that, like a lot of Jake, and in Ottawa, they go to Walmart when they stamps hit when it's supposed to hit. But it says here, is Walmart closing? Of course, it's kind of like how they got, is Walmart going to close? So that's what I got from it. But it's asking, is Walmart going to close on November 1st? The retailer faces a $2 billion loss as SNAP payments freeze amid the government shutdown. And it says here, is Walmart closing on November 1st? Many people are curious and increasingly concerned as the government shutdown continues with no clear end in sight. And we already know how the devil does things, because his ways are always grievous. Psalms chapter 10. His ways are always grievous, meaning his ways are always detrimental. They're always dangerous. They're always hurtful and harmful to even himself and other parties or nations or people. It says the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced in a notice on its website that the shutdown will cause SNAP benefits to stop being issued starting November 1st. And a lot of people have already gotten a notification this month that they won't be receiving the benefits next month. Let's continue. It says, according to Newsweek, this could lead to a major drop in consumer spending for Walmart, the nation's largest retailer, and that goes into the vintage failing. Because once upon a time, people thought that because victuals, second address, if I'm not mistaken, either chapter 15 or 16, they were thinking because victuals was so cheap and so affordable that they thought themselves to be in good case. Well, we're seeing that being turned on its head. Now the harvest is not coming. The vintage is failing, and people are panicking. Mainly women, but also, families who depended on it that may not have had a lot of income coming in on the food side. So, it's causing panic amongst those who are not of Yahweh Bashim Shai, who have not been standing for the Lord. And a lot of our people, 2/3 of our people in particular, they're being affected as well. But the main people that are really being affected is Aisha, or should I say Ottawa, because Ottawa is over 80% of the welfare recipients. Jake is a small percentage compared to Ottawa. But let's continue. It says again, according to Newsweek, this could lead to a major drop in consumer sales for Walmart, the nation's largest retailer. It says the bottom line, the well is run dry. The vintage shall fail. At this time, there will be no benefits issued November 1st. The USD wrote on its website. This is the department attributed the continued shutdown. Here we go. It says to Senate Democrats' failure to act. And of course, you got that Democrat and Republican, left and right, red and blue, conservative, liberal, all that, and it's just a bunch of but it is division. But let's continue. It says we are approaching an inflection point for Senate Democrats, the notice adds. They continue to hold out for health care for illegal aliens and gender manipulation procedures. Now, this is in the article, so I don't got time for the algorithm tomfoolery. It is in the article. Let's continue. Or reopen the government so mothers, babies, and the most vulnerable among us can receive critical nutrition assistance. It continues what it says. It says here the government shutdown, what it means for grocers and SNAP beneficiaries. It says, as Afrotech previously reported, USDA confirmed that SNAP has exhausted its November budget and cannot legally draw from emergency disaster funds to cover regular monthly benefits. Even if such funds were available, they could only supplement, not fully cover, standard payments. And it's just making me think about Proverbs chapter 11. But I'll read a little bit more, and I'll get a few scriptures and I'll end it. It says, the department added that no benefits would be issued if the shutdown continued, and warned that the states would not be reimbursed if they use their own funds to keep payments flowing. So even if the states do anything, they're not going to get anything back. It won't be reimbursed for it. It says, while Medicare and Social Security benefits continue, suspending SNAP payments is expected to majorly impact more than 40 million Americans who rely on the program, Afrotech noted. Based on behavioral data from more than 31,600 verified recipients in the survey responses from over, we'll just say 1,250 participants, Salakia. In a June report from market research firm found that Walmart accounts for 24% of total spending among SNAP shoppers. Kroger follows with a 8% of SNAP shoppers spending, trailed by Costco at 6%. Amazon at 5%, and Sam's Club / Walmart, both good subsidiaries, at 4%. So these big time companies, they're gonna take a hit. And it says, with the government spending an estimated $100 billion on SNAP each year, about $8.3 billion per month. It says estimates that Walmart could lose roughly $2 billion in sales if benefits aren't dispersed in November. So in this shutdown is going to cause a problem. It was causing a problem. It won't cause a problem. It's causing a problem. So if the SNAP benefits recipients don't receive it, these other big name companies like Kroger, Amazon, Walmart, Costco, Sam's, they're going to take a hit as well. It's going to affect these big time retail entities. Let's continue. It says Ismael Martinez, an economist at the Economic Policy Institute, told Newsweek that even a brief pause in payments could cause widespread economic pain, as SNAP plays a crucial role in supporting economically vulnerable families, children, and the broader economy. So no payout is going to cause a problem across the board. And this devil knows that. That's why this is happening. It says SNAP benefits make up about 8% of all retail spending on groceries. Even a short interruption of this could lead to layoffs or other painful adjustments in the sector, Martinez said. It says Walmart accounts for almost 1/4 of SNAP spending, about $25 billion, and SNAP spending accounts for more than 8% of their grocery sales. We should be doing everything we can to ensure families have this vital source of support, As the threat of food and economic insecurity continues to rise, he added. Okay, and it's talking about the government shutting down. But as you know, the vintage is going to fail, and we know that according to the scriptures. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get that. Salaki, let me pause this real quick. This is Isaiah 32, and I'm going to just go straight to the point. Verse 10. It says, "Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come." And now it's a lot of women that are on SNAP benefits. So the Lord is saying many days and years that they're going to be troubled. So the fact that this government is shut down, that's going to trouble these women. They're not going to receive the amenities and or the benefits that they've been receiving. Because a lot of women here are careless. They don't have a care in the world, because a lot of Jake women, Southern Kingdom women, Northern Kingdom women as well, rely on this subsidy. So the vintage is going to fail, and the gathering shall not come. So they're not going to see any of the benefits anymore. I don't know for how long, but for the time being, they're not going to see any of these benefits, and it's going to be a problem. Let me get another precept. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 21. "Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion." So again, there was once and upon a time that a lot of our people thought, and a lot of people, Ashal and any other heathen nation that was on this program, once upon a time they thought that the things that they would be able to afford and buy, they thought it was going to always be affordable and it's going to be cheap. They didn't account for inflation or hyperinflation, so they thought it was always going to be accessible or readily accessible. Now they're finding out that it's not, and they always thought themselves was going to be in good case, thinking everything was going to be gravy, copacetic, kosher, But even in that, guess what? Evils are still growing upon the earth. Sword, famine, and great confusion. I mean, there's still an evil time that's coming. A bad time or bad times still happen and to come. So it is what it is. And this is going to cause a problem. But at the same time, there's also this devil keeping back what needs to be issued out. This is Proverbs 11, verse 24. "There is that scattereth and yet increaseth. There is that withholdeth more than is meet, but it tendeth to poverty." So you have one that could scattering or give away or be generous. And guess what? They receive an increase. But there are those who withhold more than they need, and it tendeth to poverty. And this is what's going to happen to Aisha, because he holds back more than he needs. And guess what? That's going to eventually cause him to come to poverty, come to be put in a lower state or poverty, having nothing, because he hoards everything. Let's continue. I'm going to jump to verse 26. It says, "He that withholdeth corn, the people shall curse him, but blessing shall be upon the head of him that selleth it." So this devil, he likes to withhold things. Withholdeth corn, we'll say nutrition, things that are beneficial. Guess what? And the people are gonna curse this devil, because he's withholding corn. He's withholding the things that need to be issued out. So guess what? Eventually the people are going to curse him. But it says here, "But blessing is going to be upon the head of him that selleth it." And this devil just doesn't understand when it comes down to right and wrong. See, he withholding all this stuff, and more than likely, knowing this devil, it could be issued out with no problem, and everything will go as it's supposed to go. But see, Aisha or Adawam have this pipe dream of a new system, and that's all it is. It's a dream. It ain't never ever gonna come to fruition. You got to be asleep to be dreaming. You can't be just walking down the street paying attention to things, and then all of a sudden you just slip into a dream state with your eyes wide open while you functioning and doing what you're supposed to do. No, you got to be asleep to dream. And this devil, he sleep, but this is his dream. He has a pipe dream, but this devil is withholding the corn, so people are going to curse him. And again, this devil is not going to receive the blessing because he's keeping everything. He's hoarding up everything. You know, James chapter 5, if I'm not mistaken, or chapter 1. Let me go to it. I think it's 5. Yeah. James chapter 5. Verse 4. It says, behold, the hire of the laborers which have reaped down your fields, which is kept back by, which is of you, Salakia, kept back by fraud, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. So this devil, he's been keeping things and holding people down and keeping our people back, and just people in general back by what? Fraud. You know, according, like, let's say, according to the work system and how we're supposed to work, you're supposed to get paid daily. What this devil do? He make you wait a week, or he get you paid every 2 weeks. That's fraud. That's wicked. And of course, you know, our people are the hires, the laborers that are reaped down this devil's fields. Every time it's a company running, who working in it? Jake working in it. Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom. Then he got Ottawamites sprinkled around, but guess what they at? They in the positions of power. They ain't out there on the floor working with Jake. So we are being kept back and held back by fraud. And our people cry out because it's just not enough to survive and to live. And guess what? That is entered into the ears of the Lord of armies, the Lord of what? Sabaoth. That's the Lord of armies, not the Lord of the Sabbath, the Lord of armies. Sabaoth, the Lord of armies. So yeah, and again, this is another thing that our people are crying out about. They're crying out, yeah, and the Lord hear it. But when it comes down to 2/3 of our people, they're gonna have to just go on suffer and bite the bullet, you know, because they refuse to do right anyway. But yeah, it was just a little lesson, and, you know, and it really, at reading it before I did the lesson, it really just made me think about Proverbs chapter 11 and the verses that I read. And you know, but with that, Shalom.